Okay, we're going to try this again. Second attempt, first time live doing simulcast on multiple channels, YouTube, X, and I believe Instagram. So, first time streaming on Instagram as well. But we are GrowMesh. I'm Nathan. We make vertical gardens. You can make some comments down there in the comment section. I am on a new platform here making this work, so trying to figure that out. What I'm going to do is give you a little bit of shop tour, tell you what we've got, show you our product. We do these live streams, done lots of the live streams on TikTok. So really familiar with how that works on TikTok. This is a little different. I got this little tiny window. So I see comments down in the bottom, so it's a little different. So the other thing too is I'll switch the camera back and forth, and that seems a little cumbersome right now. So playing with this, we'll see how it works. But yeah, definitely trying to get it so that I've been streaming 2 or 3 hours a day. But what I'd love to be able to do is stream those hours across all platforms instead of just one at a time. Been also doing some streaming on Facebook and streaming on YouTube. I know this is maybe going out to LinkedIn, so if anybody's on LinkedIn checking this out, we're GrowMesh, and we make these vertical gardens. This is a consumer product, but we also have a commercial product as well. So if you have any questions, you can always message me here, or you can direct message me at nathandefour@growmesh.com, and you can find us on any of the channels and get in touch with us that way. So I'm going to walk around, show everything here. A lot of times I don't know if sometimes people can see the stream and I don't see them come into the stream. So if you're here, make a comment, just say, hey, don't even have to say anything, say where you're from. I'll show you outside, I'll show you the gardens. But we are a company that manufactures a vertical hydroponic garden. And it's very affordable garden. It's a complete setup. It has everything you need to start growing. It uses a combination of aeroponics and nutrient film, which are two techniques of hydroponics. And we've got lots of gardens growing out in front. It has started raining, and now it's really humid. But we are here in North Georgia, and you can see behind me, this is one of our vertical gardens. It is a flower garden that we have there, but we also have tomato gardens. I've got some squash and cucumbers and some peas growing there. I've got some herbs over there. That is some celery that we've got growing there, a variety of celery that's really interesting and done really well in the gardens. We also have a new garden, a new product that we've just put on the website, and that is the standalone flower pot garden. So you don't need to hang it. You don't need to get a stand. You can just use that garden. So here we go. This strawberry garden behind me. And I'll flip this around and just show the plants in a second. But this is how that works. Did y'all go down and didn't do Frisbee? Okay. So we're here. We're a small business. That's my boys coming in. We're in a pretty cool area of Saltee, little Saltee community, the valley here. See the mountains behind me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the camera around. If you are joining the stream, just make a comment below. Let's see if I can do this. Go to the settings here, get it flipped around so we can actually just show you what's going on with the gardens. And so now what we're looking at here, this is, unmirror that. This is celery, or a cutting celery. So this is an herb growing in one of the 16 plant gardens. Here are some tomato plants. We've got lots of little tomatoes growing in the garden here. So you can check that out. So these are our flower gardens right here. These are some begonias with some creeping jenny that's growing in our 16 plant garden. This has one of our new products too. This is a skirt that you can slide over the outside of the reservoir. So we look at the reservoir here. We have some folks that just want something that looks a little nicer. And so we've actually created this skirt. We've got about 5 different colors. Those are in our shop on the website, growmesh.com. But the nutrient is inside the reservoir, but this just covers the outside, gives it a nicer look than just the reservoir itself. We also have a larger reservoir, which is a 5-gallon reservoir, a 1.5-gallon reservoir. All these are 16 plant gardens here. So if we come over here and look, we've got some pepper gardens, we've got eggplant gardens, we have some mint. Those are our tomato gardens. This is the herb garden. We also have, like I say, some different types of plants growing in this garden. We've got some squash and peas that are starting to grow there. Got multiple types of peppers growing in this garden. So we've got different bird's eye chilies. We've got some just other hot chili peppers growing in here. We've got some banana peppers that are also growing in the garden. And then we look over here, we've got multiple bell peppers growing on this garden. So this is about 16 plants. We actually removed a couple to kind of thin it out. We had so many, it got so large. But this is a 16 plant garden, and that has all bell peppers in there. And there are actually some really large peppers growing in here, if you can find them. So yeah, peppers I like to hide in there. But if you want flowers, you can also grow flowers in the garden. So these are some different flowers. These were actually planted from some flowers that we got at the garden center. Here's another pepper garden. These are these really sweet peppers that you can see in here. So these are nice peppers. So you can check those out. Yeah, I'd love to see if somebody jumps on the stream to make a comment. I had somebody on the stream a second ago and lost them. I lost the video. Check out these eggplant. So we got some nice looking eggplant in here. And this eggplant has really taken off. I see somebody maybe have popped on the stream. This is GrowMesh. We make vertical gardens, and that's what I'm showing you. These are our sample gardens we've got growing out in front of our shop. And you see we are here in Sawtee. So if you have questions, throw them down there in the comments section. This is the first time we've done a simulcast. So I'm actually broadcasting to, I think, 3 platforms right now, possibly, I think, LinkedIn. We're also on X and YouTube. That's what we're doing. Trying to get the Facebook set up so we can stream to Facebook. We've been doing that individually, but I wasn't able to get it in on the simulcast. So we do lots of these streams daily. So I look at this as we're just here in a retail shop, and you can stop in, ask questions. If you're curious about the product, we are here, and you can just, it's like stopping in the store, talking to somebody in the shop. So that's what I love about these lives. It gives you a really personable feel to an online store. Done lots of streaming on TikTok, and we just started streaming on YouTube and Facebook. And this will be maybe the first stream that I've done on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section. And like I said, this is GrowMesh, and these are our vertical gardens. This is a 16 plant vertical hydroponic garden. We provide 4 types of lettuce in the garden kits. And so you can see the different types of leafy lettuce that are in here. Gosh, look at that. That's a gorgeous lettuce right there. This is just doing really well out here. I'm going to plant some more. I've got some inside, and I can show you too. These gardens can be used inside and outside. If you use them inside, you got to have some lighting, and I'll show you. If you look at the really tight form on these lettuce plants, especially this variety here, I'll go inside and show you a variety inside and how it differs under the lights inside, where it's got good lighting and then where it has bad lighting. So it's important if you're growing inside to have some really good quality grow lights. If you want to grow flowers, you can grow flowers in the gardens. So these are 16 plant gardens that you can also grow flowers in. This is a habanero plant, and it's kind of shaking right now, and that's what I always tell, that's the pump. So there's a nutrient solution in the reservoir. So in each one of these, those are 1.5 gallon reservoirs. That's pumping nutrient all the way to the top, and I'll show you over here how that works. So here is a garden. We've got some house plants. We've got a little bit of creeping Jenny growing in there. I think this is called Wandering Jew, little house plant. And what's happening is there is a pump down here in the reservoir, and it is pumping nutrient all the way to the top of the garden up here. There's a little shower head at the top of the garden. That nutrient is then flowing down the garden and it's starting to recirculate. And so all that nutrient is constantly being provided to the garden. And that's how that works. And that's how the plant is constantly getting nutrient. If it's running low, you'll hear the pump. This one, we can hear the pump. It actually is running a little low. Sometimes it'll start to shake, and that's because the pump is it's getting a little water, and so it creates some momentum, and the garden will actually start to shake a little bit. And so you'll know, you'll immediately realize, like, oh, I got to fill that up. But you can see in this garden, we've got these beautiful habanero peppers, like little bells in here, but they just almost disappear. They're very camouflaged with that green. So, but yeah, that's a 16 plant vertical garden, habanero plant, and we've got multiple plants growing in there. We also have flowers. Get that question a lot. What can you grow in the garden? Can you plant multiple plants in one garden? You absolutely can, but you got to think it is still gardening, and some plants get really big. And so you can see these habaneros have gotten huge. And then we had this. This was actually, I pulled that out of the concrete in the early spring. It was grown from seed from last year, and then I just popped it in one of the pockets, and so it's now starting to take off. But it's getting overgrown by the habanero plant. And then if we look in here too, there's also some of our this is the sweet basil we include in the garden kits. So that was planted and it's starting to get taken over, although it's trying to find its way out. It's searching for some sun. But this is the lettuce that's included in the garden kits right here. So you get, what we want to do is make it really easy for you to grow food at home. And you can do that in the lettuce gardens. So you can check out our garden kits. If you go to growmesh.com, you can see those garden kits. We'll grow tomatoes. This actually is a pumpkin seed. And this seed was about 10 years old, but it's really starting to get going. So that's a giant pumpkin. This is an experimental sleeve. It's a double sleeve. We're just testing it out. This is also an experiment here. We've got some onions we're going to grow in there. We're just going to see kind of what happens. We've done that before. So I've got some ideas of some issues I'll have, but we'll figure out how to build a sleeve that'll be suitable for growing onions. But we've got multiple tomato plants in here. The way we support those is with these roller trellises. I use this. I really need to separate this, get in here and trim it up some. I let the suckers really kind of start to take over, and I don't have one main vine anymore. But I need to come in here, clean this up. But you can see those tomatoes that we're growing. These are Brandywine, and I think these are Big Boy, or Better Boy is what those are. So we've got just several different types of tomatoes growing in there. And I think we've got some over here. I want to say these are the cherry tomatoes. So these are like a black cherry tomato. So I'm excited to get those growing. Those will be nice. You can grow strawberries. We grew these strawberries from seed. It's about time to pick that strawberry right there. But you can grow from seed. We'll take the runners and we'll actually propagate new plants from those runners in each of the pockets. This is our flower garden right here. And so these were some plants we kind of rescued from the garden center. They were on discount, probably about to get ready to be thrown out. So they were a little pathetic when we got them, but they really started to come back. And then we just intertwined the creeping Jenny into the gardens. And these are just really nice. I really think I want to do something, even a taller garden. It would be nice so that it would just expand the whole all the way from the ground all the way to the top. I think that'd be really nice to do. We do have some customers and they just don't want to hang a garden. They want something that looks a little better than the bag. We've done some additions. such as this, which is a skirt. So we've done that. So you can add the skirt to it. It does make it look a little nicer. But if you really want to, you can add, you can get our freestanding garden right here. So there's a post that delivers the nutrient all the way to the top. The same sleeve, the same technology in the sleeve is used to keep the plants in. So there's a mesh on the inside of the plants. That's how it works. The plants stay locked in to the garden. They don't fall out. We come over here, we can look at some of our eggplants that we're growing. Got multiple eggplants growing in here. Got a really nice large jalapeno pepper growing there. These really pretty bird's eye chilies. But I'll tell you what, let's go inside. I'll flip the camera around, maybe do a shop tour as we walk in. So we're going to walk in our shop. We do make these gardens here in our shop. So we manufacture everything here. This is our live studio. So we do live streaming here in the studio. And I was going to say, where's my garden? But I think I hung it up. So what comes in the garden kits, you've got your nutrient. You get 10 packs of nutrient, just like this. You get your plugs, you get your seed, you get your accessory kit. The garden comes in here. This is what you're going to do when you get your garden. You're going to hang it up. You're going to fill it up with the nutrient. You're going to plug that garden in. You add your seed, and then you're growing. So really easy to use. The pump already comes pre-attached to the garden, so there's no assembly. You just pull it out and you start using it. Let's see if I can get the camera turned back around, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. And let's see here. And there we go. And I'm back on the stream. So let me put this in the tripod, close this down. So if you are joining us for the first time, I am Nathan. I'm with GrowMesh, and I'm going to get the camera straightened out here. We do live streams from our shop to show you our vertical gardens. This is the first simulcast that we've done. Right now we're casting on LinkedIn, we're casting on YouTube, and we're casting on X. So we're streaming live on all those. We like this. It allows us to talk to everybody. You can put comments down there if you have questions about the gardens, you have questions about gardening, lots of questions about, hey, I live in a really hot area. Can I grow in the area? How many plants can I put in the garden? Can I put different types of plants? If I want to grow peppers and want to grow lettuce, can I do that? If I have my own seed, can I use my own seed? Those are the kind of questions we get. We love answering those. We've been growing in the gardens now for quite some time. We've got thousands of the gardens out there in use. We've got lots of feedback. We've made improvements to the gardens over time. So this is multiple iterations of the product. Still got some cool stuff that will be coming out, working on different, as you can see, when I walked around earlier, I showed some of the new product that we have. Some of the stuff to really now start to refine the gardens. We've got these new skirts, make it look a little nicer. We started talking about creating some ways to make it even easier to maintain the garden. Really about the only thing you've got to do is keep that nutrient topped off. If you're growing larger plants, that can be a chore sometimes because they can require lots of nutrient. You got a 1.5 gallon reservoir. So if you've got a really large tomato plant, then what happens is it'll start to use lots of nutrient. It can use a couple gallons, 3-4 gallons a day if you've got some really large plants. So to combat that, we are now have made a 5-gallon reservoir. And that 5-gallon reservoir allows you to go longer periods of time without having to top the garden off. So you can go a day, 2 days without actually topping the garden off. And so that's one of those things that we're trying to do to make it easier. We've also got a setup so that you can hook a drip irrigation up to it, and it'll automatically come on. It'll top the garden off with water. Still got to set that up so that we can add nutrient to it. So to just constantly top it off. So at that point, really what you got to do is just go out there, make sure that the garden's not falling over, trellis it, harvest the produce off of it, sit there, trim it a little bit, maintain your garden. No pulling weeds, no handling any soil. Really easy to use, very affordable garden. Our complete hydroponic system is $60, $59.95, growmesh.com, and it has everything you need to start growing. It's fully assembled. This is how you open the garden up. It comes just like that. The garden has a pump in there. It's pumping that nutrient to the top. Each one of these pockets has a mesh. The roots of the plant grow through the mesh. That's how these gardens are growing these plants without any soil, no soil in these at all. This actually ships under 3 pounds. So the whole garden, when I ship it to you, is actually less than 3 pounds. Weighs about 15 pounds when you put nutrient in there. You're going to put, it'll hold 1.5 gallons of water. That's going to be water with nutrient. But yeah, so this is our main garden right now. This is the 16 plant complete hydroponic system, and it is a vertical garden. But if you're joining, like I say, I've got a few people coming in on the stream. Throw a comment down there. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you have any questions. What platform? I think it'll tell me when you make a comment what platform that you came in on. But we're simulcasting now on multiple streams. This is some peppers and the tomato. I think I need to go ahead and eat that tomato. I picked that, I think, yesterday evening. But that's what we're growing in the gardens. Peppers do great. Tomatoes do great. Herbs do great. Our garden kits include everything that you need to start growing. But I'd love to know where you're from. If you're jumping in on the stream, just throw a hey down there, where you're from, if you're interested in what we're growing. If I know you, you're somebody that I know, I would love to know that too. These are the plugs that we include in the garden kit. You put your seed in there. When you get your seed in there, you're just going to come to the garden and you drop it in one of the pockets. You make sure the garden's plugged in, it has nutrient, and it's going to constantly feed the seed and feed the plants. Those seeds are going to germinate. We use a really high quality seed. So in the kit, you actually get lettuce and basil seeds. So you get 4 types of lettuce, 2 types of basil. That will, with the lettuce, you actually see that lettuce seed germinate within 48 hours. It's a really high quality seed. So once you get it planted and you get that garden turned on, nutrient starts to flow. It wicks, that little plug acts like a sponge and wicks moisture to the seed. And then you're going to see those seeds germinate very quickly. But you get 10 nutrient packs. This is pre-measured for 1 gallon of water, formulated for that lettuce or the herbs. So you mix one of these up, and I'll show you how we top the gardens off. What I like to do, I've got a pitcher just like this. I mix 1 packet of nutrient into the pitcher, and then I just drop it in the side of the garden in the reservoir, and then I just fill it up just like that. And on a daily basis, this is what we're doing. We're just out there with all the gardens, and we just top them off. And what I may do is go back out there here in a minute, because it seems like we're getting a few more people popping through the stream, which is good. But yeah, this is GrowMesh Vertical Gardens, first simulcast on LinkedIn, on X, and on YouTube. So we've been streaming. We've done streaming on, I think, all those individually. Not really on LinkedIn, though, but have done streaming on the others. This is the sleeve. This is what's on the inside of the sleeve. This is a vertical hydroponic system. The roots grow through the mesh on the sleeve, just like that. And that's how it works. The roots grow inside, the plant's locked in. You're familiar with hydroponics, you know what a net pot is. That pocket acts like the net pot. So you don't really need, you don't need media inside that pocket. If you're growing from seed, you just need a little seed, and you just need a little plug. We use a plug that's a cocoa core in peat, and it's got a little divot in there, and you put a seed in there, put that in the pocket, then that's going to help that seed germinate. Those roots start out, they grow through that mesh, get into the channel where all that nutrient is. Plants grow really big. I'm going to do one tour outside, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to probably jump off the stream. But I think this is going to be great because what this platform allows me to do is I can actually preload some videos. I can preload some images, and then I'll be able to post them. So I think that's going to be really useful. We can also get other comments. We can do bring in guests. So it's nice. This is kind of like an interface that's a little different than what we've been doing, where we stream on TikTok. Do lots of TikTok streaming. We've got some limitations with the TikTok streaming, but what I may do is flip this around because I was talking to some folks. I wanted to show you about the differences in the light. So it's really important if you're growing inside. I mean, it's not important. It's really not possible to grow inside if you don't have lights. So you got to have some really good lights to start growing indoors. But it is possible, and so you can grow year round. You won't buy lettuce again. You'll just buy that. You just buy some seed, keep your nutrient, keep that garden topped off, and So what I'm going to do is let's go this way. I'm going to switch the camera. I don't know what the 2-0 facing back is. So we're going to come back over here. And so now we're looking at the gardens. What I really want to show you is this side is facing the light and this side is not. And if I go around here to the back, you're going to see one of the lettuces that is trying to grow to the light. And so this is what happens when we have, I'll have a customer and they'll say, hey, my lettuce, it looks like it's a vine. And what's happening here is that lettuce is stretching out and is trying to get to that light. And so if you see the same thing on the backside here. So I could flip these around and make sure that I get even light distribution on both sides, but I like to be able to show people what it looks like when you don't have enough light. So if we look over here, you can see the difference in growth. And I actually kind of left the lights off for a couple of days. And so these started to stretch out too. But you can see the difference in these and the ones outside. So there's a huge difference in the plant that has the adequate lighting. These are 16 plant gardens, and we'll walk outside and I'll show you these in just a second. We have a 1.5 gallon reservoir. That's a skirt. So let's walk outside. I think I'm going to try to do about 30 minutes. I think we can go about another 5 minutes before we'll hit that 30-minute mark. And here we go. So we're outside. So yeah, just if we look at those plants that we had inside, we come out here and look at these. These are the same variety of lettuce. It's just they've been growing outside in the sun. And so you can see the difference that it's made with those lettuces that have been grown outside. So got a little bit, this is a little bit of calcium deficiency right there in those. Just been really hot out here growing these. We've been in the 95-degree heat. This is some of that basil, Thai basil, that is included in the garden kit. And this is then we got squash and cucumbers and some peas growing in here. Gosh, just so fun to watch these suckers grow. So neat. And this is a giant morning glory. So it's been growing. I love watching these grow too. Just, I think watching the vines reach out, try to find somewhere to hang on to. They'll all kind of twist together like this, wrap around each other until they find somewhere that they can just keep growing. It's really wild how Mother Nature will just find a way. It just keeps growing and keeps growing. You see these almost reaching out like that. But yeah, it's pretty wild. This is an experimental sleeve we've got going on right here. It's a double sleeve. A couple reasons why we may make this. One, well, to create a larger pocket for what we grow. So if you're growing something like these are giant pumpkins. These pumpkins, actually, the mother plants of these pumpkins produced over 1,000. These seeds came from 1,000-pound plus pumpkins. And so we're going to try these. We're just going to experiment with growing a really large plant. It'll have a big root mass. What we'll do is we'll switch the reservoirs. We'll actually put a larger reservoir on there because it'll start to use lots of water. But we may actually be able to use this sleeve for microgreens. We have several questions about microgreens and then also some mushrooms. So we may be able to do mushrooms in these. Here is another experiment. We're experimenting with some onion starts. So we're just trying to get those going. Going to see what we can do with that. I've grown some before. What happens, they get really too big. And so they really need to be outside the pocket. And so I'm looking at ways we can create a mesh or something that'll hold those onions in there while they grow. Hey, if you're joining the stream, I'd love to know who you are. I'd love to know where you're from. We're simulcasting on multiple channels right now. This is GrowMesh. We make these vertical gardens. So I'm just here to answer questions. And I'd love to, if you can make a comment. Some of the streams, some of the platforms I think you can actually comment on right now. Just depends on which platform you're on. I've got a couple. Then need to kind of pull some of these other ugly looking leaves off of here. So get some of those dead looking leaves out of here. Some of these older leaves. So yeah, this one takes lots of nutrient. We've got lots of plant in this garden. And you can just see it growing. I've already moved this once today, but it just really wants, it's trying to find somewhere to go. Sounds like we got a storm brewing. Sounds like that's going to get wet here in a little bit. But yeah, so these are vertical gardens. They're hydroponic systems. This is one 16 plant garden. So under all this is one of those sleeves and half a gallon and a half reservoir. It is shaking. Do you see it shaking? It's shaking because I need to add some nutrient to it. So it needs to be topped off. It has a pump in there, and that pump is pumping nutrient from the bottom of the reservoir. So we can come around here and you see it. So from the bottom of that reservoir all the way to the top of the sleeve, it's pumping nutrient. When it starts to run low, it'll suck it up, and then it it kind of creates this momentum, and it gets the garden shaking. So it's kind of funny to see them shake, but that tells me I need to put some nutrient in there. So you can see it there, getting that nutrient starting to shake around. You can start in the gardens from cuttings. So these were all started from cuttings. You can start from seed. Our garden kits have seed in them. So we have lettuce and basil seeds, so you can put those in there. And you can also start from bare roots. So these were planted from bare roots. Also, these were also planted from bare roots. Need to deadhead some of these older buds out of there. I need to get my pruners to do that. But you can see these beautiful little, get rid of those. You see these beautiful peppers. Those are habanero peppers. Been eating some of the chili peppers. I should say I've been tasting some of the chili peppers. They're really hot. If you're curious how we actually add nutrient to these, this is the best way to do it. You get you a funnel, you drop it in the side of the reservoir, you mix your nutrient in a gallon jug or gallon container. We provide you 1 packet of nutrient, or I'm sorry, we provide 10 packets of nutrient, 1 gallon per packet, and then you just top it off just like that. So it makes it really easy to maintain the garden. If you get these bigger gardens where you're growing lots of big plants, you can actually set up a drip irrigation system. So that's what this is. This is just right now delivering delivering water. But what we're going to do is set one up so that it'll actually deliver nutrient to the garden. So we will have that as an option eventually. We do have, this is a new freestanding garden. So you don't have to hang it. It comes with the flower pot, comes with the post. So you can see we can grow flowers, but you can grow lettuce. With this, we'll provide multiple seeds. You get 20 packets of nutrient with this garden. You will have to choose your rocks, but that is in our shop too. So if you go to growmesh.com, that garden is now available. These are our vertical hanging gardens, and this is our 16 plant garden. It is $59 in our shop. It has this accessory on it, which is a skirt. So you can choose which type of skirt you want. That is a terracotta skirt. That's a terracotta color. So it adds a little bit of flavor to the garden. But check that out. If you want to grow vegetables, that's what I created this for, so that you can grow all kinds of vegetables in the garden. And so these are tomatoes that we're growing. I've got some Better Boy tomatoes. I've got some Brandywine tomatoes. I already harvested some of those. Just made a great video of those tomatoes. Here are I've got to move this. It gets bigger and bigger every time I come over here and look at it. Lots of stuff growing in this garden. We come around here and look, and what we see over here is we've got some mint. Those were planted from cuttings. We've got some eggplants growing. We come in here and we can see those eggplants growing in there. So you can check those guys out. Lots of big eggplants. I think those are, they're called Black Beauty is what that variety is. We've got different types of peppers growing in here. So we've actually got 4 varieties of peppers. We got banana peppers. We've got some chili peppers, these bird's eye chili. We've got these bananas, and then we've got jalapeno in there as well. And here are our bell pepper gardens. And then if we look over there, that is a sweet pepper. Those are like candy. Those are those little peppers. Let's go look at it. It is really nice. These are awesome. They are so sweet. These guys are really sweet, and they are like candy. So that's a 16 plant garden. You can see we've got different colors of the skirts on the gardens out here. And you can see there we've got some I think beans. I want to say these are some sweet peas, maybe, is what that is. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Got to move that sucker so that we get those. I'm actually pretty excited about that one. I just forgot we planted those. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, if you want to grow food in a small space, you want it to be easy, you want to be accessible, check out our gardens. Love to know who's on the stream. Love to know, who's checking out the stream. If you have any comments, questions about what we're doing, about what we're growing. And, I left this. Here's a little strawberry. Probably can eat that. But he's been on there a little too long. But yeah, I'd love to know who's joining us on the stream. Just put a comment down there if you can. And I'll tell you all about the gardens, all about our hydroponic setup, what our goal is, which is to get more people growing food at home, make it really easy for them to grow. So yeah, check out our products. So if you want to grow at home, make it easy. A lot of our customers are older customers who have a hard time growing. They used to have a garden. They just can't get out in the garden anymore. I actually had a gentleman today stop in the shop. He was from Romania, and he was just telling me how both of his parents love gardening, and they both fell out in the garden. And so now they just can't get out in the garden. They actually moved to an apartment, but they love gardening. And so we have lots of customers that actually buy gardens for that. This is a giant pumpkin. I love it. These seeds literally about 10 years old. I probably bought those seeds, yeah, maybe 2014. It was way back when I got those seeds. And so we just started some of those. Those pumpkins were over 1,000 pounds. The seed that came from those seed came from pumpkins that were 1,000 pounds. This is a lettuce that you can grow in the garden. So you can just see how beautiful that lettuce is growing. That's been growing out here in the 95-degree heat. So you can still grow in when it is pretty warm, when it's still pretty hot outside. We include basil in our gardens, so lettuce and basil, that is in our gardens, but you can grow flowers. That is our 8-plant garden. That is a 16-plant garden. This is also a 16-plant garden. So probably going to go, I was actually going to go off the stream here in a little bit, but every time I say that, I get somebody else popping in on the stream. And it's always fun to see people come in the stream. What's interesting on these streams, we'll get one or two right now when we're streaming to YouTube and Facebook. But on TikTok, man, sometimes we'll have, 400 or 500 people on the stream. It's just a different platform. When we initially get on there, they'll boost it up to 200 or 300, just depending on who is watching. So probably what I'm going to do, let me go back inside. I'll show you the gardens inside, and I'm going to end the stream in just a second. So we're going to go inside. I'll show you the gardens inside, and then what I'm going to do is drop off, and I'll say this is a success that I've been able to stream simultaneously on multiple platforms. So let's see if we can switch the camera back around. Here we go. So if I been on here and you didn't get to hear my introduction, I'm Nathan. I am one of the owners of GrowMesh, and I am the creator of the product. But we want to empower more people to grow food with our vertical hydroponic systems. So I'm about to jump offline. We're about to be on here for 40 minutes, which is really good. Streamed across all 3 platforms for 40 minutes. So I feel that is pretty successful. Had several people come on the stream. You can always find information at any of the channels. GrowMesh, growmesh.com. We're on everything, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. So check any of those channels out. If you have any questions, we make these vertical gardens. They're hydroponic systems. This is our first simulcast on TikTok, or I'm sorry, on X. on YouTube and on LinkedIn. We've done lots of streaming on TikTok, but now we're trying to expand and stream on all these other platforms. So love it that we're getting several people pop through the stream. Wish they would leave some comments and where you're from, what you're interested in, if you do any gardening, what you like to grow, just any kind of conversation. The way I look at this is like a, I'm just here in the shop owner. I've got the product, we manufacture here. This gives you an opportunity to just kind of like walk in the store, have a conversation with a shop owner, just like you'd be walking down the street somewhere. That's what I love about these live broadcasts, these interactive broadcasts. You can ask questions. I can tell you about the product. If you're curious about it, just throw a comment down there in the comment section, and I can talk about what we've got. See, we got somebody on the stream, so I'd love you to make a comment there. I'm going to drop off. So I see this as, I feel this is a pretty good, successful stream, and I will see you on the next live stream. So thanks for joining.